Welcome to Module Monday number 2. And today I just wanted to talk about how I go from this, a concept, to a finished module. So usually the first thing I'll do when I'm designing a new module will be look at what sort of module I'm wanting to build. Is it going to be an overdrive? Is it going to be a boost, fuzz, or whatever? And from there, I will usually go looking for existing schematics because honestly, myself, I'm not an amazing circuit designer. I feel like my skill best lies in the application of those circuits and the modification of them. So yeah, first thing I'll do, I'll go looking at sites like, I think it's Tagboard Effects and similar sites like that. So once I've landed on a schematic that I like the look of, I've watched some demos maybe of some people that have made this particular effect, I'll go, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. I will usually go breadboard it, like here. I've made, I think this is a 2 transistor fuzz, which could be like a fuzz face or something like that. And then I've got something here that I can switch between 2 settings. Not that you particularly need that with a breadboard because you've got, so many things you can just easily pull in and take off. The other option I will often go, because I honestly don't particularly enjoy breadboarding. It's kind of laborious. I'm not great at it. And I often find that I'm better off taking a punt on a schematic, so taking a risk. And then the next thing I'll do is I'll go to my computer and I will design that schematic.
So here in EagleCAD, I have a schematic for a super hard-on style boost. So from this point, I've got the schematic. What I would usually do is I would delete the power section because all of that's already dealt with from either the Stomp-O-Matic or the Guitar-O-Matics. And then I would simply go and add in my pins for input, output, power, ground, and the potentiometer. And then from that point, I'm working towards a new prototype.
So the next thing I want to do, once I've actually built the prototype within EagleCAD and I've ordered it, it's come in, it'll usually look like this. It'll have through-hole components instead of surface mount components, just because they're easier to change. And oftentimes I've built the schematic off something that's already existing anyway. And more often than not, I'll want to change some of those values. So if I'm doing SMD components, it's a little bit harder to just chop and change components. Whereas if you're going for through-hole components, it's really easy. Like even if I've only got one PCB left, because I've tested, 4 or 5 of them and, I haven't landed on something I like, it's really easy to just take components off. So once I've landed on something I'm happy with the prototype, then it goes to an SMD style board.
So this one here, you can see, uses through-hole components. There we've got the op amp, some resistors, some caps, and there's an external trim pot. And then we go to the exact same thing, but this time it is all SMD components. So there's surface mount. It's really consistent. This is all done overseas from my PCB manufacturer. As you can see, I've kept an external through-hole trim pot.
Another consideration I really have to make when designing these modules is, do I want it to be an X module or an XY module? On last week's Module Monday, I spoke about the difference between X and XY modules. So the idea being, if it's something that I would really like or think has real value, being able to be accessible from on your guitar, I would usually make that an X module because I can use an X module in the Stomp-O-Matic anyway. So we've got this one here, the Little Geordie, which is a brand new one that I'll be releasing soon. You'll see some demos of. This one, as you can see, has 2 trim pots. Now, initially, I wanted this to be an XY module. And spoiler alert, there is also an XY module. The reason I thought this was really fantastic for an X module, and the reason I've done both, X and XY, isn't just so there's more things. It actually works great as an XY module. It's a harmonic fuzz. You can dial it in so it's got some really nasty, weird overtones. It's not just a case of like spitty or anything like that. It does these like weird out of tune harmonics, which if you dial them in just the right amount can be absolutely awesome and sound really cool. But one of the controls, which is the input control, really vastly changes the character of it. And I thought it would be really cool if I put that on the X control so that on your guitar, while you're playing, you can change that and you can really get it to change textures, not dissimilar to the way Matt Bellamy uses his, I think it's a fuzz factory on some of his Manson guitars. So once we've gone through all of that, we've decided if it's an X or an XY module. We've prototyped. We've got a prototype we're happy with. Probably changed a few values or components, or maybe taken away or added components along the way. So once we've done all of that, we end up with an SMD board that needs minimal attention when building from me. I just need to solder on the pins. And in this particular case, I've got a couple of dip switches. This one is a new module, which I haven't released yet, but it will be coming out really soon. And it happens to be based on a design by runoffgroove.com, which was a fantastic site. I don't know how long it's been up, but he's got some really, really great designs. I don't think ever ventured into making pedals for like a retail sort of space, but he basically put it up for like hobbyist use and that sort of thing. I actually reached out to him and I asked, is it okay for me to use this? And he said it's great, and it even says approved by runoffgroove.com. And some of the funds from sales of this will go towards him so that he, gets a kickback from his own design. And I have actually modified this one as well. So the original design had one level of gain, one level of tone, if you will. It sounded fantastic. But what I've done, I've added a switch to drop the gain a little bit, and then also added a switch to fatten it up a little bit, because it's not nasal, but it's very focused, very tight, not heaps of bass. So I've got a switch that'll really fatten it up. Thanks for tuning in to Module Monday again, guys. Have a great week.